Welcome to Lesson 30, the one that quietly closes more help desk tickets than almost any other: file permissions. Every operating system answers the same question: who owns this file and who can read, write, or run it? But Linux, Windows, and macOS each answer it with different tools. Over the next few pieces, we'll walk through Linux RWX, Windows ACLs, the macOS hybrid, and the cross-OS headaches that show up on shared volumes, so that access denied stops being a mystery and starts being a 60-second fix. Let's start with Linux, because once you see it, the whole model clicks. Every file carries three categories: owner, group, and other, and each one gets three permissions: read, write, execute. That's 9 bits. And LSL prints them right at the start of the line. So when you see RWXRXR, you're reading the owner can do everything, the group can read and run, and everyone else can only read. Chmod sets them with letters like U+X, or with octal numbers, where 7 is full access, 5 is read and execute, 4 is read-only, giving you the classic 755 for scripts, 644 for regular files, 600 for secrets. And when the file belongs to the wrong person entirely, that's chown's job. Now jump over to Windows, where the same problem gets a much bigger toolkit. Instead of 9 bits, every file carries an access control list, a full roster of users and groups, each with their own checkboxes for full control: modify, read and execute, read and write. You'll find it under Properties, Security tab, and by default, everything inherits from the parent folder, which is exactly why your permission change sometimes doesn't stick. And when the GUI gets tedious, take own and ISACLs in an admin PowerShell will do in one line what clicking takes 10. So let's put all three side by side. Notice how the Linux and macOS columns are basically twins: chmod 700, chmod 644, chmod 6, because they share the same Unix DNA. Windows takes the same ideas and dresses them in ACL clothing: ICACLs instead of chmod, take own instead of chown, and access is denied instead of permission denied. My advice: memorize the column for the OS you live in every day, and just keep this table bookmarked for the days you cross over. Now zoom in on macOS, because it's the interesting hybrid. Underneath, it's genuine Unix. Every chmod, chown, and LSAL from the last lesson works unchanged, which is why Mac users feel right at home in terminal. But Apple layered 3 extras on top: Finder's Get Info panel for quick GUI tweaks, flags for things like hiding files or marking them immutable, and SIP, System Integrity Protection, which locks down systems so completely that even root gets told no. Remember SIP when you see Operation Not Permitted on an admin account. That's not a permissions bug, that's Apple protecting the OS from you. Here's where things get messy in the real world. The file itself crosses operating systems just fine, but the permissions almost never survive the trip. Plug an NTFS drive into a Mac and you'll get read-only. Apple's built-in driver won't write to it, so either reformat as exvat for true cross-OS use or pay $20 for Paragon. Just know that exvat is the universal compromise. Everyone can read and write because nobody stores permissions, and there's no journaling. So keep it for sneakernet, not backups. For ongoing sharing, SMB is the standard. Windows hosts the share, Mac and Linux connect over SMB just SI, and permissions live on the share itself. And watch the small stuff: those ._ files Macs leave on Windows drives, the executable bit Linux scripts lose in transit. Use rsync or zip when perms actually matter. Now let's put it all together with 4 tickets you'll actually see. Ticket 1. A Linux script throws permission denied. ls-l shows no x, so chmod plus x and run it with /. Ticket 2. Windows access denied on a folder the user supposedly owns. Old SID after a rename, so take ownership through Properties, Security, Advanced, or just run takeown. Ticket 3. Can't write to a USB on Mac. 9 times out of 10 it's NTFS, so reformat to exFAT or install Paragon. And ticket 4, Nginx can't read uploaded files. Chown to www data, HLMOD 755, done. Same pattern every time. check ownership, check permissions, fix the one that's wrong. Before we wrap, let's lock in the vocabulary. These 12 terms are the language of every permission ticket you'll touch. RWX, chmod, chown, 755 and 644 on the Unix side. NTFS perms, take own, ICA sales, and ACL on Windows. SIP, sudo, and numask, rounding out the macOS and Linux essentials. If you can read these without flinching, you can read any permission ticket that lands in your queue. Now a quick myth-busting round, because these 5 beliefs cause more tickets than any actual bug. Chmod 777 isn't a fix, it's a security hole. Sudo doesn't override SIP, encryption, or network shares. Linux permissions alone don't make a system safe. Read-only can still leak. An SSH key at 644 won't even load. It needs 600. And permissions never survive a jump between APFS, NTFS, and exFAT. Memorize the why, not just the rule. And that's lesson 30 in the books. Owner, group, other expressed 3 different ways across 3 operating systems, but always solving the same core problem. You've got RWX and the 755-644 pattern on Linux, ACLs and the security tab on Windows, Unix plus get info on Mac, and exFAT as the cross-platform compromise when permissions just have to step aside. Next up, processes and memory, why your PC slows down, and how to find and kill the runaway from any terminal or task manager. See you in lesson 31.